Candidates review. Educational candidates review. Okay, wait, I didn't look at this game. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Oh, H4! What is this move? What the heck? Okay, this is something totally new. Huh. Okay, so H4 is something I've never seen before. I think this is like something totally different. Okay, bishop g7, knight to c3, c5, d5, d6. Okay, e4. I like this position for white, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so I can see how this h-pawn move is actually potentially a weakness because now black gets to park his knight on g4. Knight to g4, h5, queen e7, bishop g5, bishop takes c3, b takes c3, f6, bishop d2, g5, castle, knight g5. Whoa, what is knight d4? Wow. Okay, c takes d4, castle. Oh, I mean, knight d4 is such a cool move because if you play after c takes d4, why is black not saving the knight, right? If he goes knight to f7, well, actually I have no clue. Let's figure this out together. I actually have zero clue why this is good for white. I'm guessing this is some kind of analysis, but I have no clue. Oh my god, that's some pretty accurate gameplay. Rook to e1. Okay, so if rook to e1 and castle, there's lots of pressure on the e file. That does make sense, I agree. Queen c2 is totally fine. Yeah, I mean, this is an awkward position, but true. Court, true. Queen c2. We're threatening bishop d3 and then taking that. Thank you, SJ. Okay, there's bishop g4 and bishop e6 as well. There's so many ideas here. I can see how this is extremely uncomfortable. Okay, so here there's bishop g4 or bishop d3. Both are pretty good moves. A piece is still a piece. It's incredible white has enough compensation here. I definitely agree. I mean, you guys have to consider that a piece is still a piece, but like looking at how all of black's pieces are currently trapped on the back rank, I would say that this piece compensation is probably sufficient because you're gonna be getting at least a pawn. So first of all, you already have a pawn, right? So then you're only down 2. Shiamai, everybody. And then additionally, there is the possibility that you're able to get an attack. So you were in disbelief when Ding didn't convert +4. I actually didn't watch the game live, so I have no clue what happened. But yeah, okay, so that's kind of the summary of why after c takes d4, c takes d4, castle. Shema. When you watch this live, it's so exciting. Yeah, the games are way too early in the morning for me. If I had to put money on somebody, I would put my money on Caruana for sure. Now, Caruana is definitely the one that I would be putting my money on. Okay, so here, bishop to e3. All right, so we got the pair of bishops. Not down any material. Black's king is really weak. This is like a pretty dream position, honestly, I think for Ding to play, because like, you know, you just have everything in this position going for you. If you're not able to convert this position as white, that is indeed a little bit sad. And I mean, Maxime is not a weak player by any means, right? But Ding is known for being really aggressive. So, you know, I really respect how Ding plays. Now, Paul Morphy was a full-on aggressive player, so... Alright, here, rook to a3, okay. I mean, position is just... Like, it's a good position, but I wouldn't actually say it's that, you know... I wouldn't say that it's very winning for any one side right now, yet. No Geralt today, nope. Yeah, it's about the position. No, MVL's just getting smacked with preparation, but he's able to hold himself most of the time, so that's honestly good enough. Okay, A takes B6. A takes B6. Alright, Queen D1, King G7. See you, Crabster, dobranoc. Knight A4. Bishop D3. That's true, right? You gotta expect the prep, but that's the fun part. Then you just have to figure out what kind of prep. Alright. Yeah, for sure, Joffrey. MVL's playing really well. But he always feels bad because he's attacking. I think at some point he's gonna crack. He won Title Tuesday today. It's always difficult to balance against Hikaru, you know, because Hikaru is just so good. Okay, so rook to b2, knight to c5, queen takes. Okay, so in this position, b takes c5, d takes c5. Now this position is really, really winning because like Black's pawn structure is so bad. He has 3 pawn islands. Okay, so this is how we evaluate every single position, right? Pressure on e5. Okay, good. Okay, space is one that I don't think it's that good, but yeah, I know, Joffrey. It's okay. Pawn on h5 is nice. Yeah, it's taking. Yeah, it's okay, Vakodin. For the most part, it's fine. Pressure on weak b6 pawn. Yep, this is good. Okay. All right. So now that we've actually, you know, kind of talked a little bit about all the things that white is good in, what are Black's advantages? Because it's not always about us. It's also about the people we're around. In this case, our opponent. Hey Shashka, how's it going? Dobranoc, Mati. Okay, so he has pressure on f2. Exactly. Yes, half open f file brings counterplay pressure. Exactly. Okay, so I know the engine says this position is +2, but it is not that easy to play, right? Like, it's not that easy for white to play because Black has ideas. If Black had absolutely nothing to do in this position, it's gonna be a lot harder. But there is like very, 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 very little chances that Black is able to create something. No, it's okay, because then I go through a lot of that kind of stuff. Appreciate it. Thank you. The Pranos topic, Chimeshe. One move before was +3. Yeah, queen to e2 wasn't super strong. I think he had to go. So the idea of rook to f3 in this position is because the engine knows, or if you're thinking about this kind of position, right? We are still in a major piece middle game. Okay, so this is the part where you have to start thinking what kind of endgames are really beneficial for white. That's how you decide what kind of positions and what kind of pieces you need to exchange in order to go further with your position. Because technically you can stay in limbo, move your pieces around all the time, but that's not going to do much, right? So now you have to decide where and how are we going to make this position more convenient for white to play? Because we have an advantage. We know we have an advantage. But what are you going to do now? So pawn to g4 is not a move you should play. Absolutely not. You should absolutely not be playing pawn to g4. Pawn to g4 just weakens your king. Okay, so in this position, the engine really likes rook to f3 because it takes off the pressure from the f pawn. For some reason, after queen d7, it just literally suggests queen to b1, which is scary, right? Because what if they take? But then you realize you have queen to g6, and then all of a sudden your queen is super, super, super active. So that's really insane. This is not a real flower. It's like plastic. But the idea is that if black, didn't decide, we define, no, what's the correct word for this? We know that black's only chance for counterplay in this position is the F file. So how are you going to, so if you were trying to improve, right, then would you just remove the biggest threat your opponent has? Would you want to trade rooks? I would actually say this rook endgame is probably a draw, so it's probably better you don't actively try to trade, but at the same time I don't think it's like totally horrible. If you play f3, I think this move is extremely weakening because then your opponent can start attacking with g4, and f3 is actually a weakness. It's the same concept as somehow when you play, sometimes in the opening when you play, oh, no worries, Green Cow. I actually have no idea. These are absolutely not real. So I think I don't know anything about flowers. I'm sorry. Like nothing about flowers. I could not possibly tell you what kind of flowers these are. So yeah, playing a move like f3 is extremely weakening because your opponent can just attack you. Like I have zero clue. I know what roses are. I know what tulips are. And yeah, that's about it. That's literally about it. Yeah, exactly. Most of the time, if you have dynamic pressure, you don't want to trade too much. That's true too, Rat. That's true too. What's bad about g4? Okay, so g4 is a really good move for black. And the reason for this is because now your king is going to be as weak as black's king. And the engine is just on. It's not like a big deal. Like, I'm not like forcing you guys to give me the correct answer. The engine is fine. I know what a sunflower is. Yeah. Tulips are the Dutch ones. Yep. Mm-hmm. So, nice rival. Oh, it's a pin flower. Yeah, it's a pin flower. Yes, 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 yes. It is a pin flower. There's a pin underneath it. So a move like this is just going to basically annoy white because now white has to do a lot of protecting his own king. So that's going to be an issue. That's why a move like f3 is not helpful. However, let's go Villager. Yeah. No worries, Green Cow. But a move like rook to f3 serves a similar purpose to f3. Pawn to f3, right? But you play rook to f3. You don't create a weakness. And basically, this removes all of black's pressure from the f file. If you play a move like d6, why is this not going back? Okay, so if you play a move like d6, it's not necessarily bad, but can your pawn really move forward? So when you go d6, there's no future for this pawn. It can't go to d7. So that's why you leave the pawn on, like, okay, so this is something that's really important to understand in chess. You don't always need to, sometimes the pressure of something happening is enough for your opponent to be really worried about it. So you want to play something like you don't want to play something like d6 because it weakens your position, and also the pawn on d5. Imagine if it went completely to an endgame. Well, then black would absolutely need to put his king somewhere to defend against this pawn, and therefore it would be a winning endgame. So in this position, you're also thinking about all the things in the future that your pawn is gonna do, right? It's way too early to bring the king. This is still a major piece. It's like a middle, it's like halfway between an endgame and a middle game. I don't really have a good word to describe it. In my opinion, this is still like a middle game, but some people might say it's an end game. So honestly, who cares, right? Like, labels don't matter. Labels really, really don't matter. But the point of this position is still, since your king, if it comes out, it still can get into check. Queen and rook, very scary. Exactly. So you're saying rook to f3 if queen goes here. Well, if queen goes here, then I know you guys can see the move, but there's actually rook to f7, which is a discovered attack. So there's no way this move, rook to f3, chases away black's queen. I mean, the queen can go to e4, but in this case, you can play rook takes f8, king takes f8. And I mean, it's not that easy to see, but you have queen to a1, threatening queen to a8 and taking this rook. In any position, right? in any game, really, you want to be quite active with your pieces. So this gives white the opportunity to activate his own queen. In current position for who is better to exchange pieces, the piece exchange in this position depends on what kind of endgame you want to go into. You do not want to swap off a rook and a queen, because the resulting rook endgame might very likely be a draw. The queen versus queen endgame is probably winning for white because you have a passed pawn. The 2 rook endgame would also probably be a draw because it's 2 rooks, which pretty much evens out to 1 rook most of the time. So when you're playing this position, you have to think about all of these piece combinations that pertain to this position, right? So basically here, hey Beal, how's it going? Yeah, so it's not that 2 rooks equals 1 rook, but a lot of the time, 2 rooks are almost pretty much exactly like having 1 rook. So it doesn't really make that much sense to get into that kind of position. Yeah. So basically, in this position, the reason of playing rook to f3 is not to exchange off a certain piece or a certain rook. It's to think about how you can activate your pieces. So if queen to d7, then rook takes f8 is not bad, because now that the queen is no longer in f4, you can play stuff like queen to b1, or my idea of queen to d3 is obviously just put my queen in somehow, right? We can enter with this square and then try to checkmate the king. We can also go attack this pawn. So queen to b1 has a lot of ideas. And if black defends, well, now all of a sudden you can play rook b3, you can play queen here, you can play rook here, and it looks like black's getting checkmated. Queen versus 2 rooks in this position, I don't really know. I can't tell you, honestly. I probably can't tell you. Probably not that good for white, honestly. It's really hard to make progress as a queen versus 2 rooks because 2 rooks just has way too much control over the position. So, yes. I see your donate. Yeah, I've been bored with chess before. I quit chess for 4 years. I've been playing chess for like a year. Currently, I got back into chess during the pandemic. But yeah, okay, so wait, I just forgot about the position. Okay, so anyways, I think that's enough about this one specific position. Let's move on a little bit. So Ding didn't evaluate rook f3. He played queen to e2, which is very solid, just defending this pawn. Maybe he wants to play rook here, take on b6 at some point. So after e4, exactly, S-priest, exactly. Nah, I actually went to school and stuff. Okay, queen to e1 was gonna be good. So I mean, Ding just wants to go for pawns, I think. G3, queen d4. Alright, Povonzenia for college. Yonowu. Okay, so Ding is just wasting a little bit of time. So the reason that you don't want to play... Actually, what's wrong with rook takes b6? Why did he not play this? He was probably scared of like rook here and then here. I mean, that's the part, right? Where if you're a human, playing these positions can kind of be scary because your king could become weak, and we all know there's potentially checkmating ideas. Yeah, I think it was trying to be too solid. I agree. I'll probably play poker or League later tonight. One of his biggest mistakes in the game. Yes, sir. Okay, so if you're scared of rook f8, for some reason this move works. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Is 2 rooks versus 1 queen better in classical compared to Blitz Bullet? Usually 2 rooks versus 1 queen is better. Just better. No fear at all. I mean, if you take, this is obviously a win, right? Because black doesn't have checkmate. So this is not a long-term advantage. I would argue that this is more of a dynamic advantage that he had. A long-term advantage would be something more along the lines of being up material. I would say that this is one of the positions where he had a dynamic advantage. Okay, guys, what's the difference between static and dynamic advantage? Any five heads in the chat? The words are different. Thanks, Rat. Thank you. Have no idea. Okay. Okay, so thank you, Psycho Panda. Dynamic goes away if you don't take advantage of it. I'm gonna say, in this position... Yeah, exactly, Zenbound, exactly. So whether you have an active attack, in this position, at least a few moves ago, I would say Ding's position was more of a dynamic advantage. Is the E pawn and B pawn not a long-term advantage? Yes, but at the same time, this is a major piece endgame. If it was a minor piece endgame, I would say that this is probably 100% won for white. But since it's a major piece endgame, things are going to be a lot more, like Aladimi, I guess. So, in this position, you know, it's a lot more like you have to be really on top of things because it's literally like that. Like literally, like things are gonna happen, right? Like things are gonna happen. So you have to be like all the time on top of things because you don't really have the time to just move your pieces around and wait because like then your opponent is just gonna move all his rooks here and try to checkmate you and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know why that was the best word I could find, but yeah, it's all about tempo in these kind of positions. And Ding doesn't use his tempo, starts playing quite... What books I recommend for beginners in chess? I would recommend Jeremy Silman's. Do they lose rating? Yeah, of course. Jeremy Silman's Endgame Manual is really good. Queen f6, d6. Art of Tempo, exactly. To Pranazjava. Rook to e6. So now he just pushes this pawn. You can see how the eval bar doesn't like it, actually. So it looks like this pawn is going skirt, skirt. But is the pawn actually going skirt, skirt? No, it's not, right? Because he can play rook to d6. The Prano's trendsetter. So in this position, you can go rook to d6. It's going. Yeah. How to get better at chess? Well, I think a good start would be watching my yesterday's YouTube video. Actually, I uploaded this morning because I couldn't sleep. But my YouTube video on the last game between Fabi and MVL was really good. I'm like highly proud of that, yesterday's analysis actually. And also Gotham has courses. I have courses on openings and tactics, but those are pretty simple stuff for beginners. Yeah. MVL's games are really good, I agree. So, I mean, he's gonna lose this d-pawn, right? And this d-pawn was really important in his position because that was our plan for like a large part of our game. A large part of the end game is going to be like that. So basically, do I have course on tempo and gambit? No, I don't, but I really should. I think there's a lot of things about chess that I can explain really well to beginners because I have like my way of learning chess, my way of having always learned chess was really positional because I grew up in an era where we didn't really have engines. So I think I understand chess a lot better than most people who have started chess now, obviously. Just because I have more years, but also just because like I have a pretty different way of thinking from a lot of other people. So but yeah, queen takes d6, pog. Oh. Sorry. Rook takes d7. Okay, so he gave up the d pawn for the e pawn. So it's still better for Ding because he has more piece activity, like a tiny bit. His king's a tiny bit safer. I grew up before engines. I'm 21. I started playing chess at 3. The best engine when I was 3 was good, but it wasn't like crazy good. I think engines got really good when I was like 9 or 10. And that's when like a lot of engine stuff happened. It was Fritz. It was like Fritz 5 or something when I first started playing chess. Like it wasn't a really, like there were no commercially like good engines at that point. Now everybody can just pull up an engine, right? Yeah, I was a boomer when I started chess. Now everybody can pull up an engine. But when I was younger, I didn't like, dude, I barely even had like, not everybody even had like a portable laptop, you know? So why do I seem older than Sard? I've had this conversation a lot with Sard, actually. I seem a lot older than him, so it wasn't that much of a massive box. It could run on laptops, but laptops were so slow, you just weren't able to analyze games like you can do now. So Toxic's TM, I have a really long video on that on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out. Yeah. So yeah, exactly, Minsk. I mean, it's people just want to win sometimes too. So yeah, you run Fritz on your dad's computer. Exactly. Back then, it was really, really difficult to just be able to. Yes. Okay. So, anyways, here, White's King's a little bit safer than Black's King, but Ding has lost a lot of his advantage. Like I said, it was a dynamic advantage. So now that he's lost like all of that, it's just going to pretty much clear out to a very drawn endgame. He's still a little bit better, but Black is not going to blunder. Like, he just moves this rook back and forth. How's White gonna make progress here, you know? Black's King's a little bit less safe. So MVL doesn't have a boring game style, which is really interesting. Ding has a very aggressive game style. Top engine in the world today is probably Leela. Probably Leela. No, Alpha Zero. Sorry, Alpha Zero. Actually, I'm not even sure. Honestly, I don't have a perfect answer for you. Chess is absolutely awesome. Alpha Zero is really old now. Stockfish is still better. I really like using Leela. Yeah, for sure, Mets. And just imagine, I didn't have any of that when I was a kid. Okay, so Leela is good. Leela is like a free version of Alpha Zero. A Stockfish is obviously really good. Yeah, of course, Rat. Yeah, Leela is the free version now. Okay, so King here. Queen B2. White's King is now too weak to do anything, so they're just going towards a draw, and they probably just make a lot of these moves all the time. Who will win the candidates? I'm rooting for Fabi. Yeah, there's no way to make progress, so this queen endgame is a draw because nobody has a passed pawn, and White's King is too weak for White to be really trying to force anything. So yeah, not surprised that this game actually just ended up in a draw. Toprano's entree. Yep, this game was just a draw. Kekem. But, I mean, Ding had all the chances in the middle of it to win. He just didn't take it. So that sucked. That sucked. Let's take a look at this game between Geary and Wang Hao. I think I did commentary with Wang Hao in Mandarin at some point. It's pretty cool. Why is this tournament so prestige? Okay, so this tournament, the Candidates Tournament, is the decider for who gets to play Magnus Carlsen in the World Championships. Exactly. How do I know Fabi? I called him short. And yeah, we became friends, so that's how we met. Okay, so D4, Knight of 6. Super League cancelled, Sag. Where do you get friends from? True. This was literally when I was like 16. No, but that's literally what happened. Like, I literally called him short. And I make fun of him all the time for not being world champion. Anyways, are most chess players sponsored? Most are not sponsored. Only like the top 10 players are sponsored. What is the best practice for that? GON, honestly, engine's not bad. You can get a coach, but the most important part is using an engine, and on every move, it gives you like a big question mark. Go think about it. I think it's very possible to use an engine to improve your chess play if you just use it smart. That's true, Mets. I should do that. I should bring my CLG chair to a tournament. This was the only win of today, so let's actually take a look. Queen's Gambit decline with G3 to Bishop G2 line. Jingo, honestly, I hate on it sometimes too, but you have to use it correctly for it to be effective. Otherwise, you're just gonna be a robot. So... Oh, no, Zbishruda, no, not really. I mean, obviously tournaments usually provide their own sets. So, whatever, like usually it's like decently big, it doesn't wobble. Basic requirements for a tournament chess set is that the pieces don't fall over randomly. They don't wobble, because I have a chess set that just wobbles. And also, like, yeah, just gonna like just having big enough pieces that when camera is on it is, but otherwise no, they're not really like any center, and like you can actually recognize the pieces. Yes. So yeah, pretty much Ealing. Yeah, what shoes do you wear? You can wear whatever you want. Are you saying wobbly set would not be allowed in tournaments? I actually have no idea. I know, right, Kilbas? I know. How do I choose between chess.com and like Lichess? So chess.com has a lot of really good courses and a lot of really good stuff for beginners. And that comes with the premium membership. I think even with gold. So yeah. I think if your opponent complains, they have to change sets, yes. But also at most official tournaments, they provide the set. In this Catalan, does black have to play c5? This is a Catalan, yeah, it changes into a Catalan. So there's a lot of different moves here that I can play. I'm gonna flip this over for a moment because I play this on the black point of view. So a6 is the most common move. There are other moves you can play here. I think there's other lines like bishop d7 and bishop c6, but I don't really remember anymore. I haven't looked at this theory for a really long time because I don't play this line of the Catalan, but you know, it's fine. It's okay. Do I recommend Catalan for beginners? Yeah, I think it's pretty solid. No worries, Nexy. C6 is probably a move. But, like I said, I don't really remember. I don't play this line. Okay, so the idea of playing a6 is to play b5, so white plays a4, you know? No. What's the move here? Am I trying to go to the World Championship? Yeah! So this year, the League World Championships are in Shenzhen. And I really want to go. There's nothing to do with chess. Like I said, yeah, the League World Championships are in Shenzhen. So I'm trying to go to Shenzhen. Yeah, it's not leaked. It's been announced. Shenzhen has absolutely great food, so I really want to go for the League World Championships, but no, I don't really have intentions. Unless I'm playing in like a chess World Championships, I don't think I'll just go watch, because you can watch online. So, will I ever be in Europe? Bro, I lived in Europe for like 11 years or something. Dobranoc, Svianiek. Have a great night. Okay, bishop d7, queen takes c4. Here, thank you, Surfer. Knight c3, bishop takes f4, g takes f4, a5. Okay, so that bishop spooky, yeah, it's true. You can watch League online as well. I know, but I've never watched a League tournament in person. And I've watched a lot of chess tournaments in person. So, the world champion for women's right now is Zhu Wenjun. Yeah, China's absolutely awesome. Analysis accuracy of this game 99.2 to 94.4. Bro, having like being this inaccurate against a fellow 2700 is definitely gonna get you a loss. How did I learn to play chess this good? I've been playing for 18 years. It's a lot of time spent. So lol, noob. Indeed, this guy is an absolute noob. Dobranoc, Sobyan, Chimashe. Let's go, Ibnist. Man, imagine having 94.4. This ain't accurate, I know, right? Zhangjiajie is cool, yeah. You played for like 7 years? That's cool. Not even 100%, I know, right? Starting kindergarten, I started before I could properly talk. Oh, I sometimes speak Polish, like very rarely though. I'm 21 years old, playing for 18 years. Let's just say I didn't have a childhood. Would I watch the World Championship match in Dubai in person? Honestly, maybe. Yeah, I love Dubai, so I would go more for Dubai than World Championship. Is 100% even possible? No, 100% is probably not possible unless it was a really short game. Like if it was a 10 move game or something, it might be possible. Oh, that's awesome, IRXS. I hope you're enjoying. Yeah. So, now I can stream. Exactly, I love streaming. Cześć. It's okay, Sazone. It's gonna take time. Okay, it's gonna take time, dude. Have you seen me play Witcher, bro? I couldn't get through half of the like levels on normal mode. No, watching classical chess live is not that interesting. Maybe now it's really interesting because like they're probably adding commentators and stuff to the like. Okay, the thing is, if you just sit there for 7.5 hours watching people make a move on a board that you can't see, it's probably not that interesting. But I think now what they've done is started adding rooms where there's like live commentary and stuff, so that's probably a lot more interesting. But yeah. So it's funny if it's fun if they're good commentators. So yeah, exactly, Lumpy, exactly. What is the best to start for chess? Just start playing games, bro. Yeah, that's true, Holy. That's true. Thank you, Federal. Thank you. Yeah, I actually did a review on the Fabi Round 8 Novelty Rookie, so plug for my YouTube channel. Okay, so the engine was just bugged for a moment. There we go. King takes, obviously. I don't know why I was bugged there. Shameless plug, exactly. Alright, dobranoc, court. Take care. Really, man, so that's actually super cool. Okay, so queen here. Queen to e2. So if your opponent's king's them like kind of open, right? You want to open up the position. Live alone. I live alone, but my roommate is supposed to come. Thank you, Cora. Appreciate it. Dobranoc, Shio. So if your king is in the middle of the board, you really want to be attacking this king. So you want to open up the position, and that's why a move like c5 is really good because it hits at the center. All right, let's see how Anish Giri deals with this. So he's really fearless. He just lets his king vibe on g2. Remember, a king is not really unsafe unless it can get attacked, you know? So. Thanks, Nexy. Okay, so rook takes, queen takes. I honestly think, any chance I will get to commentate? Let me ask my friends if anybody wants to do it. The thing about commentating on World Championships is that the games are probably like 5 hours long, like 7 hours long. And I don't know if I like halfway through the commentary, I'll probably be like, I want to go play League. And I'll dip. Hey Kimmy, how's it going? Like, I honestly feel like if I was gonna commentate on like World Championships, like literally halfway through, I'd be like, bro, I don't want to do this anymore. And I just like go get food, start playing poker. What about commentating while playing League? Honestly, that sounds like a lot. Exactly, Beyonce. It's very long. They're very long games. And it's also so early in the morning. The best chess game I've ever seen is the one I literally posted yesterday on my YouTube. Like, no cap. Yesterday's game, I know it's a very long, in-depth review, but it was literally, I literally did not have the heart to cut out any more of it. I already shortened it from like 2 hours to 1 hour, but it's literally like my proudest piece of just analysis because it was so good. Yeah, Fabi MBL was the best one, so imagine 6 hours. Yes. Spam. True. Versus who was the best game I played? That's also on my YouTube channel. It's called My Immortal Game. Yeah, I think it's like my best game ever or something. Analyzing my best game ever. There we go. So if you want to look at my best game ever. Why is this going on for 3 hours? I know, right, Vila? This is what happens every time I try to do any kind of review, because then everybody just distracts me, and then we're here just getting really... Yep. Okay, so rook a d8, rook takes, rook to d1. All right, the idea of putting a queen in the middle of the board is just to play b4. Activate that. Thank you, Raven. We're gonna be done in an hour. Yeah, we'll eventually get through this entire analysis. Eventually gonna get through this entire analysis. At some point today, we'll finish this. Okay, knight b4, queen to b5. What the heck, man? Today, an analysis is faster than yesterday. Okay, to be fair, okay, in the last 2 hours, we have gone over 3 games and a half, and not just 1 game. So we're already doing better than we were doing yesterday. Exactly, rookie. Like, it's literally just like, okay. We're improving. Okay, so knight takes d5, progress. I'm doing really well today, Bahu. H6, queen d7. Yeah, this is like fast forward, exactly. Okay, so now, all right, the Pranas zone. We're putting our queen on d7. It's gonna be active, right? Just like how rooks are really strong on the 7th, I think putting a queen on the 7th when you can is also really good. Okay, so there's no rook to f8 in order to kick this queen out because you have queen takes f7. So this is actually going to be like one of those positions where white just has so much control, and the queen on a8 is actually pretty useless right now. So, all right, g6, b3, king to h2, queen to d4. Queen to b2. Okay, we're just playing really slow chess. Okay, so the idea of rook to c4 is he wants to take this with the pawn so that he can attack b7. White is the side with a 99.2% accuracy. Look at this. He has the smallest advantage in the world and he just builds this advantage up. Isn't that like just crazy? Nah, I'd be a horrible teacher in school. I don't have like the patience for anything. I would not have enough patience for anything. Yeah, so it's literally, it's actually just insane how the top level players play. Anish is a beast, but so are a lot of other grandmasters, obviously. Yeah, I would actually start playing League halfway through a lecture when the class isn't listening and nobody would even notice. Actually going in class, yeah. Okay, so pawn here. All right. Okay, queen, rook here, rook takes. Apparently the engine says this is a tiny mistake because of the a4 pawn. I think what he was scared about was if queen takes, this probably, maybe he was scared of rook to d2. But then you just play king g3. But like, I guess this is still really scary, right? So I can kind of understand, I totally understand why he just took the rook. But I think queen takes b3 would have been a good chance to just have a clean a pawn and also just take the b pawn. But like I said, can't play perfect every single time, and it's still really, really good. Name one super grandmaster I have a chance of defeating. Absolutely none of them. Absolutely none. You know, they actually teach chess in some schools, right? Yeah, I know, right, Lumpy? It's really scary, but the engine doesn't care about that. It's also about the diagonal. That's true too, yeah. Okay, so queen here. Okay, now this just feels completely winning, right? Because you have so much pressure on the 7th rank. And this pawn's gonna be super weak. I think Magnus is gonna keep his title for another 5 years. 4 or 5 years. 2 or 3, probably 3 more iterations of world championships. And then I think somebody might be able to overtake him. But yeah, just a few moves. White has so much activity here. Black is just like, I'm out. He's getting checkmated in a few moves, so it's really cool. I think this game was absolutely beautiful to play.